Hello! In this episode of Bug Bounty Reports Explained, you will learn how two hackers, Jaiswal and Rahul Maini, got a shell on not one but three different Apple servers, for which they were rewarded 50,000 bounty. As always, the report and their Twitter profiles are in the description. If you ever wondered where do I find all those write-ups for my videos, usually it's in Intigriti's Bug Bites weekly newsletter, which contains the best write-ups, tutorials, tools and videos from IT security world. And Intigriti is a bug bounty platform that cares about the community, and they also decided to sponsor this video. They have over 30,000 researchers and 200 active programs. Sign up on gointigriti.com/bbre and start hacking now. Well, not literally now. First, watch the video. The hackers wanted to find a critical, well-paid bug on Apple bug bounty program. They decided to focus on a server called Lucee that was found on 3 different Apple domains. It's a Java-based scripting language that uses templates that look like this. It's named Cold Fusion and it reminds me a bit of a PHP code. The logic is contained inside the template file that's rendered when the user requests this file. Importantly, Lucee also exposes an admin panel, which is a very appealing target. Hunters decided to run the server locally and try to find a 0-day there to then attack the Apple server with it. It's a huge advantage of testing an open source application. To get the maximum impact, the vulnerability has to be exploited without authentication. But in CFM files used for admin panel, request admin type property was checked to see if the user is logged in as an admin. Of course, those attempts failed at first. But importantly, this check was not always at the beginning of the file. That meant that all the code above this was still executed. This is a crucial feature. It means that if we find a file that has a vulnerability before this check, this can be exploited without authentication. And finding an RCE was surprisingly easy. There was a file emgprocess.cfm that contained this code. It took the content from emg src parameter, the file name from file parameter, and saved it inside admin ext thumbnails directory. CFM files are very powerful and, among other things, you can create a web shell which will allow you to execute commands on the server. But to do this, you need to upload the CFM file inside the webroot. Webroot is a directory under which files can be accessed from the web. When you want to get an RCE by uploading a web shell, it must be inside the webroot. Of course, by default, this emg process script saved files in different directory outside the webroot, but thankfully it was vulnerable to path traversal and you could traverse back to the webroot. One problem was that double underscore was added at the beginning of the file name. It's a problem because in Linux the path must exist even if you traverse back from it later. So this path will not be found because the double underscore directory does not exist. Luckily, the emgprocess.cfm has attribute createPath equals true. So first you can send such requests so that the double underscore directory is created, so then you can execute directory traversal later. This is the request that gave you an RCE on the local instance, but it didn't work on Apple server. It's because Apple Web Application Firewall, which is very strict and does not allow ... characters to be present in the URL. It successfully prevented this attack. Hunters needed to find a bypass for that. They found admin index search CFM file which seemed to copy files from one location to another. This could be chained with the emg process. In the first step, you would upload a shell using EMG process to a safe directory without path traversal. Then, in the second step, you would copy this file inside the web root. Using absolute paths would allow avoiding ... characters. But turned out it wasn't a normal copy. It didn't even copy the file contents. But if you had a file which name matched this expression and contents that matched this regex, and you would upload it to a directory pointed by this parameter, the name of this file would be saved inside searchindex.cfn file inside the data.dir directory. The file name would be saved inside JSON that's nested in the CFN file. This allows you to put the CFML tags inside the name of the file. The code inside those tags will be executed when the searchindex.cfn file is requested. For this, it must be placed inside the web root, but again, you control the directory in which it will be saved. Connecting all this together, you can achieve an RCE. Let's now go through it step by step. First, you create a file with the payload inside its name. The content of this file doesn't matter a lot, but it must match this regex. Then, using EMG process endpoint, this file will be saved inside admin.ext thumbnails directory outside the web root. To keep the file name short, do not put the whole web shell there. This code allows you to upload any file which can be used to upload the web shell later. Then, in the second step, you trigger the copy function that searches through admin.ext thumbnails directory and save the name of your file inside searchindex.cfn file, which is saved inside the web root. Then you request the search index endpoint, which lets you to upload any file. You can upload this web shell there. In step 4, you have success, you achieved an RCE. At least on the one host with the newer version of Lucee. But turned out that 2 out of 3 servers run the older version of Lucee, which doesn't have the EMG process file. But similar method was used to achieve an RCE on those 2 hosts. The difference was that instead of using EMG process to upload the file, our hunters used ext application upload.cfn file. Even though reaching this endpoint caused the application to throw an exception about no permissions, the file was still uploaded. It was because the code responsible for the upload was before the permission check. It was very important that hunters did not believe this error but manually checked if the file was uploaded or not. To upload a script using this endpoint, you can use the same payload as previously, but it must be zipped and the name of the file must be changed to .lex. Your file with payload in its name must be inside the zip archive. Then to the copy function, you provide this name with the zip protocol and then the server will unpack this for you. This method gave the web shell on the remaining 2 hosts. The hunters were rewarded solid $50,000 for those 3 RCEs. Apple reported the issue to Lucee maintainers, and the fix they deployed is that unauthenticated users can now only request 3 endpoints. It makes this attack impossible unless you are an admin, but then you can execute code anyway. And that's it. I think this vulnerability really shows how deep you can get when you are testing an open source application, and also how rewarding this can be. Thanks for everyone reading the newsletter. I saw an open rate of about 50%, where 30% is generally considered as a very good result. I'm also getting a lot of messages and I'm very happy that you like it. If you are not subscribed already, make sure to do it using the link in the description. But for now, thank you for watching and goodbye.